Welcome to Body by Design. I'm your host, Blue Driver, a women's strength training and metabolism coach. I went from years suffering hormone imbalances, looking soft and bloated, to symptom-free and building muscle for a toned athletic physique. Since then, I've made it my mission to empower women to take control of their own health, hormones and body composition. So grab a cup of coffee and let's build your body by design. Welcome back to Body by Design, everyone. And this week we have Olivia on board with us. She's been one of my clients since May. You joined us, and it's now December when we're recording this. So that's a time relevance for us. I think that's about 7 months or something, isn't it? Yeah. So welcome, Olivia.
Thanks, Lou. I'm pretty excited.
So start with telling us a little bit about your story and how you ended up with me before we get into where your results have gone.
Okay, so previously, I've always been a very active physical person. I've never worried about diets. I've just seen food and eaten it and been pretty comfortable. It wasn't really until I had kids where things started to go a bit pear-shaped, and probably pregnancy where you're eating for two might have had something to do with that. I was always okay or comfortable, but it was a bit later when I was thinking, right, things aren't working and I'm not able to change things myself. And I was desperate for another baby. So we've got two and I really wanted four. And I came across this way of pro-metabolic eating, which I thought, well, if I can't get pregnant by fixing my hormones and making things work better, at least when I'm 40, I'll look shit hot in a bikini. So on my 39th birthday, I joined up to a different program, which is where I learned about all the pro-metabolic lifestyle and balancing my meals better. And I'd done the group gym, fitness, weight programs, but not a lot of strength training on my own. So I learned a lot of that. And I was in that program for about 4 years, and I learned so much to help myself with tracking my food, like I said just before, making sure that my meals were all balanced with my carbs and fats and particularly protein, and how I spread that out over the day. I learned a lot about training and growing. I was interested in growing muscle. It's just towards the end, I'd sort of felt like I was getting nowhere, which is where I knew about you. I'd seen you on Instagram on and off, and in a few posts, I'd come across your name a couple of times, and I thought, I'll just reach out to Lou. And that was probably around April this year where I'd felt I wasn't getting anywhere with my previous coach, because I probably didn't know what to say and she probably didn't know how to ask, or we just weren't working well together. So I saw you and asked you a few questions, and you were really great because it was on a weekend and you just kept firing back these answers. I thought, well, I've obviously got you at a good time. And
I love a good DM chat. Anyone want to have a chat, just send me a message. I'm always open to chat.
Yeah, and it's probably what I wanted to hear or needed to hear, and knowing that I know I was responsible, but I also feel my previous coach needed to maybe step up the game. So after speaking with you, having some deep thinking time, and I spoke to a couple of other people as well, and then I thought, right, well, I'm going to give Lou a go, because I know some of this stuff, and maybe just someone who can see what I want to do and really knows how to work with me to make that happen. In 7 months, I've seen the biggest change than I saw in 4 years, physically, but also mentally. So I've gone from someone who didn't need anything to needing a lot of help, and now I've got the perfect support and help to get me where I need to go. And I'm even thinking in my head, maybe I want to go a little bit further.
We have plans. Olivia and I have plans. What has been the physical results you've seen since being with me?
So since being with you, the physical change is I've lost 10 kilos. So when I look on the scales, it's down 10 kilos because I know I'd gained a lot in 4 years. So for me, that was a significant difference that I'm actually now on the scales less than what I was 4.5 years ago. I like getting out of the shower when I'm drying myself with the towel. I can see different muscles moving, and that's what I've
Best.
always wanted to see since being, early 20s. I haven't had that for a while. And so getting back to seeing, you stretch your arm out and you can see some muscle definition. I posted in our wins section, when I'm doing Bulgarian squats and I've got the mirror in front of me and I can see as my legs coming up, I can see the definition in my thigh. And I just love looking at that because I can see it. I know it's working.
Yeah.
I feel great. I know I've lost 8% in body fat. So that's huge because I'd gained so much. For me, that was that's a really big deal for me. And I know in my centimeters in that time, I've lost about 24 centimeters.
And you've maintained your muscle mass and strength through this process as well.
Yeah.
So a bit of background here. You did touch on it, but Olivia has done the time, like she really has built a sound foundation. So yeah, pro-metabolic eating, which we can touch on, but also the learning to lift and actually building muscle. And that's been one of the biggest factors where we've been able to jump in with Olivia and go, okay, this is actually metabolically, you were really sound. Strength-wise, you're pulling great numbers. It's just about revealing that muscle underneath. So you gained a fair bit of body fat through the process for whatever reasons, but you had gained a fair bit of body fat through the process with your previous coach. And when I spoke to Olivia, it was about having someone that she aligned with that she felt could get her to that goal. So we've had 2 cracks at it so far. Shorter cracks because just of the way life has laid out for you.
Yep.
And we're going to have another go in the new year, but we're going to do a full 12 to 16 week phase with you then. So, she had a really solid foundation beforehand. I wouldn't mind touching a little bit on because it was pro-metabolic and I know of the principles that were being used and everything for you. What sort of health improvements did you see by moving? Because, I mean, when you came to me, I didn't have to do anything with your food-wise in the way of types of foods and spreading your meals. It was just about how many calories and how we wanted to break the macros up. So you'd actually done a lot of work with your food and nutrition. What were the benefits you got out of changing the way you ate? I mean, you said you came here looking to have another baby.
So that never happened. But I've had a lot of significant changes, probably that you just can't see. So for me, it's been headsets, my mindset. I'm eating enough food, so I'm not getting cranky, so I'm not losing my temper, so I'm not causing little spot fires just because I'm tired and restless and I want to take it out on somebody. So I'm feeling personally a whole lot calmer. I'm feeling more energized. I get up, there's stuff I want to do. I can get it all done. And sometimes there's not enough, how do you say it? I've got everything done that I've got day left over in a sense because I'm just, okay, here I'm organized because I've got the time, because I've got the clarity, because I've had great night's sleep, got the energy to get things done and focus on them and not do 10 things at once, but really concentrate and get it done and then worry about the next and worry about the next. Because if I try and do 3 or 4 things at once, they don't get done properly and it's not.
We feel chaotic in our mind.
You do, yeah. And this, I've noticed that I don't feel like that. And if I start to head that way, I've got the ability to go, well, hang on, let's just, even if it's have a drink of water or let's just have a stop for a moment and go, hang on, what are you doing? This doesn't work. I've got the ability to do that because I've now had so much time to actually work on how recognizing the signs. So I know I sleep well, I wake up feeling great, I can get things done, I'm more productive, they're better quality. I'm a better person because I'm calmer, I'm happier, I'm more energized. I want to go and do things. Whereas I know there'd be periods of time where even though I felt okay, I probably was quite happy to stay at home and not do anything or not talk to people or not see anyone. But now I've got that energy where, yep, great, let's do this. Let's make this happen. It's a sure, let's do this attitude, not, oh yeah, we'll do it, knowing that you don't really have any intention. So definitely the things for me would be the sleep, the clarity, being more organized. I've got more time. Like part of that organization is my meals. Like I know when I don't track, I'm chaotic.
I laugh because I just think of all the conversations I have with women that are like, tracking and meal prepping is hard and it's restrictive and it's, takes too much time and all this sort of stuff, which is probably all valid in the first couple of weeks when you're learning a new skill.
Yeah.
But when you get past that learning, look at what it's done for you.
And it really does free up. It frees up my headspace and it frees up my time. And I know, look, if I get into which I did in previously, I would get into slumps where I'd think, oh, I've done it enough. I know I can eyeball things. I can tell by hunger, or I know by looking at the size of, this many blueberries with my cheese and some biscuits. That's my morning tea. Yep, I'm right. But I know that I end up under eating. So all those things I spoke about, they change.
But you've got the ability, if you want to break from,
yeah,
currently you have got some very specific body composition goals. So tracking is required.
tracking is required, yes.
However, when you get to where you want to be, or when you just want to maintain, you've got that skill, like you said, you can eyeball. However, if you start feeling like, oh, I'm feeling a bit chaotic or I'm feeling a bit stressed, pulling that tool back in to go, am I eating enough? Hello, no, I'm not. I'm going to start weighing my food again and bringing it back up.
Yeah, that's right. And then I don't plan for the week. Like if I'm not tracking, I'm not organized. So meals go crazy. Whereas I just have to do a couple of things, say on Sunday, a couple of things on Tuesday, and I'm right for the week. And I have a little planner on the fridge where the kids and I will put, oh, we'll have this, and this during the week. I don't have to think about it again. And there's nothing worse than waking up in the morning going, oh, what are we having for dinner? I've got to go to work and I've got to do this. So it clears all of that.
The mental load is gone.
It is. And it makes a significant difference, and you don't really realize it until you've had it, and then you go out of it to then come back in and go, God, what did you just do that for?
And I think this is that everyone thinks they need to be 100% perfect from day one, otherwise it's not working. I think there's actually some value when we fall off track. There's actually value in that when you come back to it, because you feel the difference, now can feel what you're missing out on from tracking or feeling good or having great digestion or any of those things. Now, actually that felt really good because I've fallen off and I feel crap again. So it's a great motivator to take you back. And I find people don't fall off as often, which I think when you came to me, that was probably one of the bigger things for you.
Yes, yeah, it was. I'd been on maintenance for such a long time. I didn't see the value or the relevance. Nothing had been changing for me. So then I just I probably put the value of, well, wait, maintenance means just do what you want. As long as you're eating a target, just do what you want. And that wasn't the right way to go. But because I had been there for so long with no change, it didn't have meaning to me that it should have. I know, and that's where I struggled after doing my deficit. And before starting the mini cut, I was meant to be in maintenance for a little while. And I found that it was probably only a month. It might have been 6 weeks. But I know there were times when I struggled because I still had that. I hadn't changed that value to me of what it actually meant, that you've dropped this much and now we're trying to maintain that so that then we can do that next drop. I still thought maintenance means I can eat what I want when I want, woo, freedom in that sense, when really I'm glad I've got that realization, and I've learned now that when I end this mini cut, it just means, well, you get to eat a whole lot more for sure, but no, you don't get to go and eat all that other stuff every day. Yes, you can still have your Doritos and you can fit it in and you can have a bowl, maybe on a Saturday night when other people are having other things, that's okay because you're still getting to have it. You don't have to have that bowl of Doritos 7 nights in a row for 4 weeks.
And I think this is where some people come undone. They think they do a deficit, they get to somewhere where they want to be, and then they go, okay, well, I don't have to do anything. They don't view this as a lifestyle. And though tracking to a T is not necessary all of the time, the principles of still strength training, still getting your steps in, still eating those balanced meals, and making sure that the additional foods or the little off-track things aren't everyday things. You still have to do the same things to maintain that body.
Exactly. Yes, that's right. And it's okay to do that because you're making it fit. You're not, and I probably fell into the trap a few years ago too, where, oh, well, I can eat this much. I'll eat everything on it. Look, there's that bowl of Doritos I really want, and I'd have that too. Whereas now it's, no, I'll make that fit in.
Yeah.
Because I've done my hard work, I'm maintaining, I'm okay, and now let's make some of the things that you like fit in as irregular, not treats, but additional foods. Because
look, it's not good and bad, but we know there are foods that aren't as optimal for us. When you've got a strong metabolism, your health is really great. It's just around, for you, it really is just around the body composition change that you can put some less optimal foods in there. But again, it's not daily stuff. Daily stuff we want to be, and if your daily stuff, the stuff that you're planning all the time, is good stuff that nourishes you, digests easily, gives you all the nutrients that you need, adding in some Doritos within your, like you say, within your calories on a Saturday night, that's okay too, because it's not everyday food. Just to go off on a tangent, you did make me think of something. I think we get into, in society, we've gotten into this thing, and it starts with kids at school, and you think about their lunch boxes, and we pack all this good food, and then they get the treat food as well. And it's every day at every lunch. And then they come home, and then it's dinner, and it's like, well, if you eat all your dinner, then you can have a treat after. We've gone beyond a treat being an occasional food to it being daily, even sometimes multiple times a day.
Yeah, I agree.
That becomes the norm. So we're bringing up society, like children through society, thinking that these foods are okay to eat every day. They're okay to eat occasionally, but occasionally is not when it's part of your daily plan. And I think, it starts there.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. And look, I know I've made a few changes to my kids' lunchboxes. I'm always saying, if you're hungry, fruit and cheese, or have a drink of milk and something. So but I see it at school. I'm a school teacher, so yeah, I see that as well.
See the lunchboxes.
Yeah, it does, and that's all some kids eat. So it's really hard. But then on the other side of that is when I sit in the staff room and all these ladies, now that it's summer, bringing out all these bags of baby spinach and lettuce and shit like that, and then a tiny little tin of tuna. I've gone past now where I need to have something extravagant for lunch, like leftovers have always been great. Or now I'm in my mini cut. I'll just air fry chicken strips with some seasoning, and I just have that with some fruit and maybe a coffee. And here they are with these big bowls piled up with lettuce, and I just think,
there's no calories in it. There's no nutrients they're going to absorb from it. No. And they're going to feel hungry. I'd much rather sit down to my seasoned chicken and fruit. I'm the same as you. I'm busy. Once upon a time I used to do all the leftovers and all the rest of it and play macro Tetris and everything. And it can be done. And I did it quite easily. But now I just go simplicity. I choose the fruits that are in season, so they taste the best. You change your protein up, whether it be chicken or steak or something. There's plenty of seasonings or sauces or condiments that you can put with it to put a different flavor profile. One week could be Asian, another one could be Mexican. Like, you really can change the flavor profile of it, and then some fruit with it or a juice or whatever it is, but keeping it really simple. I see it a lot where people come in and they are amazed at all these beautiful foods that they can eat, but they want to overcomplicate it by making big recipes out of everything. The food is so awesome on its own. Let's keep it simple, and it keeps you on track so much easier.
Yeah, oh look, completely. And that's what I've learned over the time too, that yes, it's easier for me and it's tasty for me to, I'll either have these bits of chicken, I might make these little Vietnamese meatballs, and then look, hey, I've got choice. But it fits, it's quick, it's easy, they can sit in the freezer. If I get sick of the chicken, it can go in the freezer, I can pull something else out. And it's just in that phase at the moment where it's to nourish. I want convenient, tasty, hit my macros, and I'm on a journey to achieve something. So that's where I'm sitting, and that's where this fits. And I know these meatballs, instead of making them as a meatball, I can make them into a mince. I could put them in a rice paper roll. I could put it into a lettuce leaf, like a sunchoy bao type thing. It gives you options with how the flavor might stay the same. Just is so much more convenient to go, right, I'm packing my lunch the next day, bang, bang, bang.
And when you're working on your health or your composition, they are the big key things to do. Keeping it simple so you can stay on track. You get more flexibility when you get to where I think people need to understand that they didn't get to where they were in a month, and it's going to take time. And they got to where they are because they didn't have reasonable choices. There was no, and it's not restriction, but there were no boundaries, no thoughts about nourishing themselves or anything. And you need to spend time, and there's got to be some compromise in what you're doing. And sometimes it comes down to compromising the fancy meals and lunches and all the rest of it for simplicity to keep you going.
And then you realize that simplicity is actually quite okay, that you don't need to be making these extravagant things, and you become comfortable with that. Particularly when you sit in a staff room, someone's a foodie, so they're spending all hours of their spare time creating these lavish meals, and you just think, look, I'm just quite happy with my air fried chicken and my fruit. So
if I've got time on the weekend, that's where I'll do a really, I'm actually a chef by trade. So for me, flavor was always a big thing. Cooking was always a big thing. Now it's like I still get flavor. I still get great food. But if I want to do those meals and those cook-ups and those recipes, do it at a time, like do it on the weekend when you've got a bit of time. You don't have to not have it at all. Look, one of the things I think I see with women is how much we take on, and we need to let something go to give ourselves space to take care of ourselves.
Yeah, I'd agree. Yeah, that's right. One thing I've really noticed, though, in these last 7 months too, which I probably wasn't as aware of prior, is the huge impact that sleep has for me in my progress. So
we were just talking about that. You've had one of those weeks this week.
Yeah, and look, I'm a bit of a slow learner maybe, and I need to think about things to realize it. So I know I made a comment in the when I was doing the deficit, but yes, this week I've really had that pointed out to me, and it is more of that realization, because you can see it, that I always know a good night's sleep of at least 8 hours is what I need to feel great and get the day done right. And I know Saturday last week we had a super late night, and it took 2 days for sleep, scales, and bodily functions to go back to normal. Then I had another late night, and again, same thing. It took 2 more nights or 2 full days to have sleep, bodily functions, and scales go back to where they should be.
So sleep will impact everyone. I think we all get impacted differently, but you're learning that sleep has a big impact on you. And when let's talk about the scale. So if you get a poor night's sleep, people freak out. And I mean, we were just talking about this before we jumped on, seeing the scale move. Now, I even said to you when you got on, I went, what the fuck happened during the week with you? And I knew it would have been a meal out, so probably there was extra salt in it, or, there would have been something in there that tells me why the scale went up. but it's not actually body fat. It's just a moment in time. So you went from 71.1 to 71.9.
Yeah, God, that hurt when I got on the scales that morning. I thought, holy cow, you cannot be serious. It was just a late night. I'd done everything else, within reason. And God, that hit that mindset. And I'm like, as I'm putting the weight into my app, I thought, it's okay. It's just this morning. Just put it in. It's just a number. It doesn't mean anything. I'm still feeling good. I'm still feeling great. And then the next morning it had dropped, and the next morning it had gone back to what it was before the night out.
That was your second night out as well, wasn't it? In the week.
No, I think was it the 71? No, I think that was the first night.
The first night out.
Yeah, and then the next night it jumps back up again. That second night, yeah.
So, I mean, that's quite a jump on the scale, but we know that your body is quite affected. We've seen it in temperature. So temperature checking is another thing that we do because it can be an indicator of how well your body's metabolically functioning. And you've posted up in the community channels before, how you've noticed the temperature really gets affected. Your body temperature drops, your morning temperature drops. Then you go back, have a nap, and you're good again.
I know, that was crazy. Yes, that was a really good little experiment by chance that I had to get up because I was doing something, had to get one of our kids ready. Anyway, I had to get up early, got on the scales, did my temperature, did what I had to do. And then I thought, it's the weekend probably. I'll go back to bed because I don't feel rested enough. I think it was only an hour and a half extra sleep, and it made a huge impact on changing the temperature and changing the scales at that time too. So we get into the habit of going, I don't need that much sleep, or I'll stay up and get all these things done, knowing you want to get up early to do things for yourself. You just can't sustain that because
the odd night, you're seeing the impact of the odd night. You sustain that. What is that going to do to your body long term?
That's right. How do you feel clear and calm and capable when you're always catching up and chasing that extra bit of sleep to try and feel great for that next day? So
it's a lack of sleep is literally a stress on the body. So when we talk about stress, I think people go straight to emotional stress, like an event happening in life or something's going on that's making you feel stressed. But there are many other stresses: lack of sleep, lack of nutrients, whether you're over or under eating, but if the quality of nutrients going in is a stressor on the body. So there's all these different stresses, but if you remain in chronic stress through lack of sleep or lack of nutrients, it's going to have knock-on effects eventually. And in women, we see it in their hormone, in their thyroid, in the way they hold belly fat. So those things can't be underestimated.
No, and you know that information, but until you really look at it, see how it impacts you, you probably don't really go, So,
and I think that's another point, how it impacts you. So we know sleep really impacts the scale and your body temperature for you. And these are things that only you can learn over time. And it's, through being in coaching and having people talk to you about these things that you get the education on it. I know for me, emotional stresses or a big leg day in the gym. I can have a big leg day and jump 0.5 kilo in the gym from being in the gym. Sorry, jump 0.5 kilo on the scale. Literally overnight, 0.5 kilo. And you go, where did that come from? Oh, okay, yep. I got a few PBs in the gym yesterday on that leg day. That's where it's from. So I know that they're things that affect the scale for me, but I know it's not true weight gain on the scale. When you're on your own and you jump on that scale on a daily basis and it's going up and down and up and down. We look at your daily weight. Yours is up and down, up and down. Everyone's is. It's not going to be a linear, even in a deficit, it's not going to be a linear process of down, 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 down. There's going to be ups and downs. And you need to understand what it is that's impacting your body. So for you, avoid all the late nights when you're in a deficit because it's going to impact that scale.
That's right.
Where possible, obviously. It's not, there's life and things happen and we're coming into the We're in that festive season, so
Yeah,
obviously you've got a few things going on, but that's not something that you do on a regular basis because you know.
yeah, not at all. No. And I'm probably feeling great that I want to go to more of these things.
Mm.
Whereas last year I probably didn't.
Mm.
But yes, having that awareness. Look, and seeing that you do have to remind yourself it's just a number, it's just data.
And it's not the only thing we use. I mean, we look at all the
No.
things that we've just spoken about: body fat percentage, muscle mass,
Yeah.
centimeters, your photos. What a change in your photos when we put them side by side. You know, there's
Yeah.
lots of things that we use other than the scale.
Yeah, that's right. And but you just don't, sometimes you forget about that because we are society focused on numbers and
Mm.
weight particularly. So when you do get on the scale in the morning and it has risen, for you do have to just pull yourself back and go, it's just a number. Don't worry about it because I still feel great. That t-shirt I wore yesterday was still loose on me. You know, that pair of shorts that you're going to put on today, they're still going to be a bit baggy. It's just that continual reminder because when you put everything together, then you can go, yeah. Like for me in this deficit, I know this past week it's been up and down and you think, man, I really had a goal. I just wanted to get below this number. And I thought this morning was going to be it. Well, it wasn't. But it was hard to get to sleep last night because it was just so hot. So, you know, I know like, damn, I really thought that was it. It's okay. I've got another week to go. I can do it this week and you know, make sure that if it's hot, we've got the fans on earlier to cool the room down sooner, or what, you know, I can put in place things to make that achievable. But I also know we've got goals for early next year that I'm also quite okay with where I've got because it's better than what I'd initially planned.
Yeah.
So I'm ahead already.
So we've had 2 short runs for you because life just didn't. You had an overseas holiday trip planned. Sorry, stumbling over my words today. You had an overseas holiday planned. So we had I think it was a 10-week one in there.
Yes.
So we did a moderate deficit in the 10-week one. Probably we're getting on the borderline of, you know, if you're doing a moderate deficit, that's probably the minimum amount of time you want to do. This time round, you said, right, I've probably got 6, maybe 8 weeks. And I've gone, look, you're really talking mini cut. So it's a more aggressive deficit, but for a shorter period of time. You'd recovered well from your previous deficit because you're metabolically really sound. You actually took to your last deficit really well. I'm super impressed with the way you keep your strength through a deficit. You've done that well. So when we lift, we want to keep lifting heavy and we still want to be hitting those heavy numbers. I don't think you dropped any numbers.
I haven't yet. I haven't this time.
No.
Oh, there was one ancillary set where instead of getting 12, I got 10.
Well, there you go. You know, one little exercise. I don't think we're going to worry about that. But in all your big, heavy compound moves, like your big RDLs and all those sort of stuff, your execution still, it's hard. It feels hard.
Yeah, they feel heavy.
Yeah, they feel heavy, but you're still doing it. So it's really important to be able to, and that's why things like sleep and stuff become so much more important because they're the factors that you can keep putting in to help maintain those numbers. So you're maintaining that muscle mass. And after the first one, you bounced back really well because you did everything really well in the first deficit. You didn't have too much metabolic downregulation. We had some time where you went away, we got you back, we got you settled again. And then we've put you into a slightly more aggressive one this time. So you've got 1 week left. So you come out of it in a week, go and do your holiday season in moderation. And we've had those conversations around, you know, this year is about a moderation one. We want to maintain the level that you're at. Don't undo any work. So then we can continue in the new year with another moderate deficit just for a longer period of time this time.
Yeah, that's right. I can't, sorry. We're very exciting for us is at the timing of joining you, Lou, we've been going through a 12-year family succession, which caused a lot of stress for a long period of time. And this year we've moved into our house on our family farm. And it just so happens the guy who's doing our front entryway has turned up this morning. get it started.
Right. Okay. So I get these wonderful videos from Olivia. So she's on a dairy farm and she's got this beautiful, where is your property?
We're in Indi, so we're between Thredbo and Albury-Wodonga, right on the border of Victoria and New South Wales.
All I know is it's close enough that if I visit my son in Canberra, I might be able to squeeze in a visit with Olivia, which could be on the cards. But I get these beautiful videos from her when she wants to give me an update. And she films out the front of her at the front door. But it's just this beautiful view and there's cows wandering around and it's wonderful. Yeah. It's a beautiful, beautiful little spot.
It is. I think for me, the timing all makes sense as well, Lou, that we've come out of that big black hole and now we're able to make our future happen. And so a lot of that stress has gone too. So
stress is a motherfucker in your process.
Yeah. So it's like being that caterpillar coming out of the cocoon as the butterfly now, like I've met you. Neville, that's not fair. Now it's just the right timing to get everything I need to get done for me.
Alignment is a big thing that you've spoken about from the time that we met.
Yeah.
And I know that we had a call for you to go, well, is this right for me and is it right now? Yeah. You spoke about alignment a lot and you went away and thought about that.
Yeah.
Talk to me a little bit more about, I always say to people who I'm talking to and when they're talking about whether they want to do coaching or not, I'm not here to do a hard sell on anyone. What I want is both of us to feel like it's the right fit. And I have been known to turn people down who want to work with me and I'm like, yeah, no, not going to happen. Not that I obviously say it like that, but I don't want to wake up, have messages in my message center and look at them and go, because someone who's not aligned with me, because I can't give my best. And I want anyone who's listening to this, if a coach you're looking for and it's one-to-one coaching, they aren't offering the opportunity to talk to them, that's a red flag for me. If they're just like, well, my roster's in so demand, I don't need to do calls. I don't need to do calls either. But people need to know that they align because it's a coaching relationship. Yeah. So talk to me about what that is for you.
So I think for me, it was probably, I knew I wanted to achieve things. You kind of know how, like you can see pictures and you go, right, yeah, I'd love to look like this. How do I do it? Oh, I do my macros and I do my training. Okay, look, it sounds pretty simple, but on the day-to-day base, it gets more challenging because you've got so many other things coming into play with that. So it's actually sitting down and going with that person, well, this is where I've come from. These are the things that are really, that I can identify as struggling or are challenging me, but I also have got insight of me from things you've said that I probably hadn't realized. And we've been able to go, okay, you struggle with this, let's work on this. The goal is, and for me, they're short goals. Like you can see a picture of two ladders, one with rungs spaced out, every 30 centimeters, or you can see a ladder spaced out with rungs every 10 centimeters. I'm that person where I need those little steps to get me up to that top goal. And that's what we've been able to do, because we've been able to say, look, ideally, this is what I want. How do we get there? Well, I need to do this. We need this. We need this. We need this. We need this. And we've been able to have those conversations and go, yeah, stuffed up here, but this is why I know that, or I've made this choice and it's taken me to this next 10 step, not the 30 centimeter step. I've had to have goals that align with what I want to do and how I can get there. And I've been able to just have those open conversations. I don't need to hide anything. I just need to say, this is what it is. This is how it's been. And then you and I we've got that same approach of, I'm in a mini cut. Yeah, I did 2 weeks ago eat out. Okay, well, you've done that. Maybe next time don't have the ice cream after the dinner. But
you had the dinner, that was probably enough, maybe not the ice cream. Yeah.
That's right. So we both know that when you're in a mini cut, you don't always get away scot-free. It's not you're in a mini cut. If you dare think about something that's not in your in your, well, forget it, I can't see you, we can't work together. It's not like that. It's knowing that we're people and we do make
And life happens.
And we make good choices 90% of the time, and then occasionally things happen, or you just go, I've had enough, I just need to do something sort of normal, or whatever that may be. But we've been able to create a process for me where we're both coming at it from the same way to make this happen. And I haven't had that before. Like, it's okay to say, look, this is what I want to do. Great. Well, we'll keep you here and you do this. Well, that's not enough for me. I probably sometimes need to know that I can DM or text or say, look, feeling shit, or this is great because I've done this, or just having those intermittent bits of extra communication. Just to check in, to have that support, other than our weekly check-in, which is great. It's normally on a day when I feel good. But yeah, just to know that we're on the same page, we've got the same goal, the same plan, that I'm doing the work to get there, but you're providing me with that support and that reminder that, well, you are normal, that's okay to do that. And things happen. And I haven't had that kind of relationship before. And I can say to you, I don't know what I need to know, or I don't know what to ask because I don't know what I don't know. And if you see that I'm not on the right page or struggling with something, it's quite easy for you to then just say, well, hang on, pull this back, or did you think about that, or let's do this next time.
I think one of the things I've noticed with you is, and I mean, I'm like this with my clients anyway, but I picked up that it was really important for you, one, to understand the why, and two, to collaborate. And I'm going to give an example here for people, and I probably haven't said this directly to you before. When we were talking about the mini cut and I put the calories forward, they were a lot more, obviously it was a more aggressive cut compared to nothing extreme, but definitely less than what you had been on before. And there was, well, how would it look if I actually didn't go that low and just did what I did last time, but did it for 6 to 8 weeks? In that moment, I can see the scared. And I think you actually even articulated, I'm really worried about how low that food looks.
Yeah. How hungry am I going to get?
Yeah. What level of hunger is this?
Yeah.
And it's fine. I actually knew the choice you would make. I'm like, I know what she needs to do. And I think that that's the choice that she's going to go with. But you needed to come to that realization yourself.
Yeah.
You needed to feel like, one, you had some options.
Yes.
Understood the outcomes of either of those choices, and whatever you chose aligned with you. And I know you talk with your husband a lot, which is beautiful to see that your husband and family are so supportive on this journey. I think you said to me, your husband had said to you, I love the way you look, but if this is important to you and you want to change it, and he's on board with you, which is beautiful. So you took some time to think about it, and you came back with okay, we're going to go on the 1,600 calories. But for you, it was like, well, if I did this, would that be okay? Well, I could have just gone, well, yeah, you can do that. But then if you didn't get the result that you thought you would get, you'd go, well, this is shit. This isn't what's. So it was putting it in a way, well, yes, you can do that. This would be the outcome that you could expect from that, because there's going to be a varied outcome. So I was able to put all of those things forward to you with some different scenarios, and even down to, hey, if you're worried, and I think this is the thing that in the end got it for you, was like, if you're worried, we can go in, and if it's too much, we can bring them up. It's not set in stone.
Yes.
And it's not a disappointment if you feel like you can't. And it's not me with the big ruler if you ate out when you said you wouldn't. Look, if you're someone who's going to do it every week, we have to have some tough love conversations. But one of the things I love about you is how reflective you are, and you are always learning from everything. But yeah, I think, for you, I really felt like that really collaborative process. Some people don't work well with lots of choices. You need to understand, and you need to feel like you've got some choice in this.
Yeah, and I like to think, yes, I like to know the options. I like to think about it. And I think too, the way you put them out, it then gave me that ultimate ownership of making the decision. Here is A, B, and C, what are you going to do? So then I said, okay, 1600, I had that ownership. And I also like too knowing it was a finite period of time. So even with the 10-week one, I knew it was 10 weeks. For me, it works writing when I brush my teeth. Every night I put a mark on the mirror.
We get mirror selfies with her checked off days in the check-in. I love it.
And that's just another way to visually help me keep track. Like, it's a short period of time. Out of 52 weeks, it was only 10.
Yeah.
Out of 52 weeks, it's only 7. And they help keep that goal current every day to go, it's just a short period of time. What's it matter if it's 10 weeks in your year? You've got the next 40 years to be feeling great.
That's right. That ice cream will be there again next time.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly.
Yeah, definitely. Well, what would you have to wrap this up? Because your journey has been amazing. What would you say to anyone who was sitting there thinking about coaching?
Well, I would have to say you've got to do it. And you've got to be able to talk openly and honestly with people. And if you're thinking about coaching, look, I've spoken to a couple of people recently and they said, oh, no, I can't afford it. I said, this is an investment in you and it can be done for a short period of time. 12 months is a short period of time out of 84 years. Your value is worth it. And if you can get you feeling and looking how you ideally want to be with all the extra benefits of just energy and feeling great and happy, I think you've got to do it. And you've also got to be mindful as you're doing this process, you might work with someone and for the first little bit of time, you might go, I don't know about this. But you've got to have those conversations too. And it might take a while to find the person you work really well with, which is what's happened in my case. And now I've got a ripper. I almost don't want to share, but you have to do it because trying it on your own doesn't get you to where you want to go, because you can give yourself all the excuses and justify all those excuses. And it's good having that extra person to be able to speak to. There's no judgment. There's just facts and solutions or options to help you, which when you're on your own, you don't have that. And
how to navigate life with it.
Yeah.
Because it's not an 8-week program that's going to get you anywhere.
No way.
You've got to make it fit life.
Yeah, definitely. So if you're sitting on the fence, you are the best investment in you. Yeah,
definitely. Think of all the medical bills you'll save as you get older when you're strong and capable and independent living. If you think coaching's expensive now, go and research a nursing home and how much it's going to cost, because if you don't say strong and capable and healthy, that's what you'll be paying. And by that age, you're retired, your money is dwindling, and they want you to sell your home and put your money in, put that home money in to the nursing home.
That's right. And it's also the burden on society too, in all the money that the medical system could be using on preventative healthcare instead of managing people who've made poor choices for the rest of their life.
I've got a podcast coming about preventative healthcare, and as you know, I was in the healthcare system myself, and part of what drives me is the money I see wasted in the public health system for things that are absolutely preventative.
Definitely.
And the more you can stay out of the medical system, the better. And this is where it starts. Starts now, everything, what you're feeling in your 40s has been, through all the choices we've made in our 20s and 30s. You're running out of time. You can start any time, but you really do start running out of time by the time you get to your 40s, 50s, if you're not making changes to have a independent, living, healthy lifestyle in your elderly years, definitely.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't want to be 80. I think of my mother-in-law. She's 85. She's had a couple of trips and falls and can't get up. Well, I want to be able to push myself up. Or she has to sit in armchairs to push herself out. I don't want that. So I'm sort of looking ahead at what I don't want, and I know this is going to.
Well, you've certainly done the foundation work there, because you are strong. You're actually a really strong lady. And I tell you, I love watching this woman's RDLs. She's just got her skill in lifting You can see you've put the time into. You are a beautiful lifter. We're just now working on that body composition. Hold your muscle there and bring your body fat down. So look out next year, because after the next cut next year, I think there's going to be some pretty wow photos. I mean, you're doing amazing, but I know where you want to go.
Yeah.
And I think there's some exciting things to be seen from Olivia. So stay tuned for that.
Yes.
And with that, my DMs are always open. Like Olivia said, I was there messaging back. I love a good chat in the DMs. I'm always available for a quick Zoom call if you want to feel like, does this person align with me before you invest? I suggest getting on calls with coaches, and I certainly do that. And if you got any value out of this podcast today, please take a screenshot and share with me at strengthtraining.nutritionist. And thank you so much, Olivia. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks, Lou. I've really enjoyed it.